In this video, I'll explain some engineering and production decisions I made on Part A, or the first movement of the Ascent to Reason. These decisions were critical to providing a significantly better listening experience than what you can possibly get from the various streaming services and YouTube. I tracked the acoustic guitar in Studio B, a spare bedroom which I have set up to track acoustic and classical guitars. This diagram shows the microphone array in Studio B. The acoustic guitar is close mic'd with a DPA 4099 like you see used on instruments in classical orchestras. About 4 feet out is a Schoeps CMC6 mid-side array with one cardioid and one figure-8 capsule. About 7 feet out are a Neumann TLM-170R spot mic on one side and a Royer SF2 on the other. They are separated by 5.5 feet, and they're on the diagonal of the room, corner to corner, which I don't show in the diagram. I chose two different spot microphones because the sum of the waveforms is more complex and presumably more accurate than two of the same microphone, because each microphone captures a different snapshot of the sound source. If you're not familiar with mid-side recording, this next diagram illustrates a mid-side array configuration. The basic idea is this: point a cardioid capsule at the sound source. That's the mid capsule, the blue M in the diagram. Point a coincident figure-8 capsule perpendicular to the sound source. That's the red sides capsule in the diagram. Duplicate the figure-8 output and reverse the polarity of one of the outputs. Pan the outputs left and right. Reduce the volume of the cardioid output to create the psychoacoustic image of a widely spaced sound source. In the diagram, the left fader would be pulled down to create the psychoacoustic effect. In the high-res downloads, you'll hear the acoustic guitar, which is mid-side encoded, spread widely across both speakers, rather than coming from the center of the two speakers. Mid-side encoding is a useful technique as a complement to impulse response convolution when we want instruments to retain their identity in an already busy mix. Be sure to download a high-res file from Random String Records, where you'll hear that the mid-side encoded acoustic guitar, it not only has the added dimensionality as a solo instrument in the first movement, it also better retains its identity in the later movements. As a final note on tracking, here's an image of a 2-microphone array capturing the biamping used by a Galian-Kruger bass amp head and cabinet. The large diaphragm condenser is positioned at the center of a 15-inch woofer, and a small diaphragm condenser is pointing at the tweeter. There's no mic stand to trip on. I used a thing called an amp hook, and note the fishing weights I use as a counterbalance because the large diaphragm condenser significantly outweighs the small diaphragm condenser. I hope you found this explanation of a few of the engineering and production decisions I made in the first movement of Ascent interesting. Watch for similar videos that explain similar decisions on the remaining movements. Be sure to download one of the high-res WAV or FLAC files from Random String Records. The non-lossy file format justifies producing a better mix, which will lead to a better listening experience. Links below to Random String Records.